Hi, I'm Kiran,
Hi, I'm Romana
and welcome to the Parent Culture.
on experiential parenting.
Romana, what are we talking about today?
A topic that is close to my heart. It's something that I've recently experienced, and let's address that today.
Sure,
And,
it's the parent culture where we talk about experiences.
Absolutely.
So
And
tell me.
so today we'd like to talk about bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Schools have started. Schools are also, in the process of starting. And I experienced something with my son that was not very pleasant, Kiran. And I know it's a challenge that a lot of us could be facing. And I want to address that to make the process easier for all of us. So bullying, when my child came and told me that certain things are happening, and I didn't know how to label it or where to place it, but then I did a little bit of reading, and that's where I kind of got to understand what bullying is.
So, how do you define bullying? I mean,
So bullying is basically an act, or it's a kind of a behavior that causes harm, or intimidation to someone who is perceived as vulnerable.
and it could be verbal or physical.
Yes. So the two types of bullying is verbal. That verbal could be is also emotional, and of course we have the physical aspect. Of
And it is power play at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely, it's about I'm stronger than you, I'm better than you, or I am smarter than you. It could be any of these.
So, bullying can happen in many places, I guess. School, playgrounds, condominiums. I mean, where did the Beard experience it?
So for me, it clearly happened in school, because I remember one of the days I picked him up from his school bus, and it was just unlike him. Normally he is so chirpy and happy when he gets up, but this time he was just sulking, head was down, and I kept asking what happened, till he just burst out crying and told me what happened.
So there's an emotional reaction as a parent that we should watch out for.
Yes.
Could be that they're moody, that they're not interested in going to school, that they're losing things. Is that how
Yeah,
it sounds?
absolutely. There are times where he was like, "Today, can I miss school?" And I'm like, "You've never said that before." So that's like a red signal there. Or your child might say, "I don't want to go by school bus anymore." So that could be something that you could look into instead of completely ignoring it. Say, for example, if suddenly your child comes up and says, "Increase my allowance," that could be a signal. Or you see pencils missing, erasers missing, or things broken. These are certain signs that you can look at instead of completely ignoring it. It may not turn out to be anything, but it's worth giving it a look at.
So we should continuously monitor our
Yes.
children and sort of assess that.
That's right.
Great.
And for me, the point of identification was his body language, was his behavior, was his mood. And I just pursued till he, like I said, he just cried. So, yeah.
Had you spoken to him about bullying before? Do you think it's advisable that we warn our children beforehand? How does
I feel
that?
it's advisable to talk to our kids and tell them what it is.
So we should have a conversation with our kids on bullying. Explain to them what bullying is.
That's right.
Great.
So, when I did use the word bullying, my son was like, "What's bullying, mama?" And I was like, "How do I explain this to him?" Because even what happened to him could be something else. So, but I explained it to him in very simple words, where I told him, I said, "Ki Babu, bullying is when someone does something to you or says something to you that you don't like or hurts you very much." Physical hurt, or it could be emotional hurt. Verbally. And it hurts your emotions and it hurts your body. That is what bullying is.
And it's repetitive.
And it's, so that's another thing. That's a great thing. It's not a one-time incident. It's something that happens regularly. So I came to know that this was happening to him for a while. Till now, he just broke.
So it's really good that he spoke to you about it. And that, first of all, that you were able to pick on it
Yeah.
because you monitor him and you have a conversation with him, you ask him about his day, how he's feeling.
That's
and
right.
properly that helped bring up the emotions and the sharing.
That's right.
So I guess we need to build that bond with our kids where they are able to share and confide with us, or there should be an adult that they can talk to, be it a teacher or a counselor. Right?
That's very important what you mentioned, Kiran, because I couldn't pick at this earlier, but I did notice Dabir getting lost while he's studying. You know, or he'll have his book in his hand and the pencil will be there and he's lost somewhere else. Or he's taking hours to eat. So if you're not able to help our kids by identifying it, it could affect their behavior, it could affect their performance, it could affect their confidence
Emotionally, yeah.
in a pretty drastic
and then
manner.
right.
Yeah. So that's that's basically what I went through. And
So the good part is that if it's something that happens in school, and we're focusing on school here,
Yeah.
then there's a certain way you can approach
That's
it
right.
because it's an institution. Because
That's right.
how you handle it in the playground, which is not part of school, or for example, how you handle it in a condominium, which is not part of your school, is a different way of handling
yes,
it.
that
right?
process is entirely different. So coming to the fact that today we are discussing school bullying, it's a lot easier. So
Because there is a structure in
there is a
place.
structure involved. You're not confronting anyone directly. There is steps that you can follow that makes it a lot easier. So when I found out that my child is being bullied by, he was bullied by name calling. He was called certain things again and again and again, and that was hurtful for him. So initially, of course, the first time when I found out, I told him ignore. Just ignore it. Just walk away from them, because if they feel that you're being affected by it, they'll end up doing more. So just walk away. Be with a friend who is not a part of the bullying gang, and just do your thing. And he did. He said, I've been ignoring, but it won't stop. So what do you do then?
So your first suggestion was that be indifferent, ignore it, walk away.
Yes, so that's what you explain to your child, that ignore that person.
And the second thing you said was that it'd be nice if he always finds company, so that
Yes.
it can be mitigated and it's lesser. Because
That's right. Having support makes a lot of
buddy or a
difference.
friend, right.
That's right. Makes a lot of difference. He said it still didn't work.
didn't stop.
It didn't stop. So
Then you stepped in.
I stepped in and I was like, okay, you know what they're saying to you, you say the same thing back to them.
But that may
You know,
not
that was
be
an
the
instinct
best
that's
advice. But I guess I can completely understand where you were coming from.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can escalate the situation
Yes.
and make it violent.
It was. I got very lucky in this situation, Kiran. But yes, if a child did
For example, if
take
it was
this
an
kind
all
of
boys school, it would have been very.
it could have. For right now, it was just verbal. It could have gotten physical. How dare you do that to me? And then it could be shoving. Honestly, I just got lucky. It's not very good advice to tell your child to copy that behavior. Then it didn't. So, and he said, "Mama, they won't stop." So the next thing I did is first things first, I calmed down. I had to calm down. Handling situations like this in anger can just make it worse for you.
And it's very emotional. You
It
don't like
is.
to see your child upset or angry or
And
hurt.
especially when he comes home crying, that just breaks your heart.
And school's supposed to be a happy and safe space, right?
Absolutely.
Every child has a right to education which is safely provided, which has a certain
Absolutely.
quality.
That's
they
so
should
true.
not have to worry about their own safety, emotional or physical.
That's right. So I first of all got my act together, because talking about something like this, being emotional myself, I know would have just probably messed the whole thing up. So I calmed down, took a couple of days, and I called up the school principal, and I had a word with the school principal. And she's saying, Roman, I'm really sorry. I empathize with what Dabir has gone through. I will have a word with Dabir and I will take this forward.
It's really good to see that the school was open about it, because
Very
school
open.
can go into denial and say this does not happen in our institute.
Yeah.
We have zero tolerance and nothing happens, and they sort of shut the parents out.
That's
But good
true.
to see
That's
that
true.
the school he goes
I
to
mean,
is
most
opening up.
schools do say we are, zero at bullying, but again, principals and teachers cannot be there every time, everywhere. Sometimes it could be happening unaware,
Absolutely.
But the principal was very open, extremely supportive, very empathetic about it as well with me, and she dealt with it that very same day. In fact, I spoke to her in the morning, and in the evening, Dabir came back smiling and said, "Mama, it's all stopped. No one's troubling me anymore." So it really worked out for us. So I think following the process worked a lot. Now, there are a lot of things that I could have done, Kiran. I could have probably directly called up the parent of the child, or I could have barged into the school and created a scene, because it is emotional to see your own child being hurt and crying. But this is where I feel being mindful, being open, and knowing that these things can happen, and to handling these things in the right way, like following the right method, is what makes it easy.
Right.
I mean-
but I wanted to say that you were fairly lucky in that sense
Absolutely.
that they intervened and it sort of stopped. But it could be that it doesn't stop, and the fact that your child has complained could adversely affect the whole situation. The kids could find, or the child that is doing the bullying could find other spaces and get more aggressive. What do parents do then? If it's not stopping, how should they address it with the school then?
Correct. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, the first step is, number one, you talk to your child about it. Number two, encourage your child to deal with the bully directly. Number three, take it to the school, that is the higher ups. If it still doesn't happen, then what I would have done is, I would have, instead of going directly to the parent, I would have asked the school to intervene, where could you call the parents and I will be present, and in the presence of the school authorities, both the parents would have been addressed, and we would have come up with a solution. That I feel is the best way to work in a school environment.
Right.
You know?
You ask the school to mitigate in a situation where the bullying is not stopping, and at a certain stage, both parents have to come to the table and have a discussion around it.
That's right.
And the school has to facilitate that process.
That's right.
The teacher or the principal or whoever they decide their bullying committee is.
That's right. And I think from this experience, one more thing that I've learned is, honestly, they're all children. Each one comes from their own thought process. They have their own challenges. They have their own things that are happening. So in this situation, one thing I learned is, we are not here to blame anyone. We are not here to demean anyone. We are not here to accuse anyone. We just want a solution where our children will be happy, flourish, and grow. And this method that we spoke about today is something that I believe will nourish the situation than make it worse.
Right.
That's what even I learned from this.
True. I think it's really important that schools be a very safe environment for our children, and I think both parents and teachers have a very important role to play.
That's
And more than that, I think as parents we need to encourage our children to come and confide in us and talk to us if they are in such a tough space as being bullied. And I think that is a trust that we as parents need to establish with our children,
That's
and that
right.
will only happen through continuous dialogue.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Talk to your children. Let them know that you are right there, and that it's okay for them to talk to you. A lot of kids,
And nothing is taboo.
nothing
Any
is taboo.
subject
Absolutely.
between parents and child.
That is so
including
true.
sex.
That is so true. Our children need to know that they can come and talk
to
to
you
us.
about
A
it.
lot of them are scared. What if mama shouts at me? Or another fear factor could be that if I tell my mama will tell that, and the fear that what if he does it more or she does it more.
True.
So these are fears that we need to address with our children, because all we want is to see them be happy. I think that's the bottom line. We don't want revenge. We don't want to again accuse, blame. We just want our children to be happy.
And we need to address it because bullying leaves emotional scars.
Absolutely.
And a lot of children don't realize that what they're doing is very, very harmful to the other child and has a long-lasting impact.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so what I wanted to also touch upon was that there are three aspects of bullying. One is that the kid is being bullied. One is the bullier, one is the person who's being bullied, and the third is the bystander. We need to empower our children so that they can stand up against bullying, and it
That's
doesn't that they don't participate with the bullier.
That's right.
So that's an aspect we need to.
That's right. Yeah. You know, we need to, in fact, also talk to our children about if they do see someone else bullying someone else, to stand by as support, to be kind, to be compassionate, not to make fun of it or stand at the corner and make a video and put it on
And become
Instagram.
a part of the herd.
Absolutely.
And so to participate in the process. So
That's
even bystanders are like sort of supporting.
Yes.
Right? The
That's
bullying.
right.
If
And
you
it
don't raise your
encourages
voice-
them. Yeah. I mean, you know, you see it in movies, you see it in series. Hey, come on, beat him. And that instigates the bullier more and more. So yeah, these are few things that we should educate our children about, because we just want everyone to be safe and happy and grow, and yeah.
And we need to make our children aware of what bullying is,
Yes,
so that
very
when
important.
their behavior is heading towards that, they can stop themselves.
Yes.
Because I think any parent who says my child will not bully needs to stop and think about it, because
Absolutely.
anybody can bully.
Yeah.
Right?
And I
Our
mean,
children could turn into bullies. And
Absolutely.
maybe they are bullying some other children, we don't know
we
about
don't
it.
know about it. And instead of of course, it's very natural to get defensive as a parent. It's very natural to feel, no, how can my child do that? But look into it, because like I mentioned, no one wants to harm you or accuse you or blame you on purpose at all. So look into it, and that's the only way that we can create a safe and happy environment for our children, because ultimately they're studying together, they're in school together for almost 8 hours. So they are interacting with each other a lot, whether we like it or not. So let's make it an environment that is happy and safe for them.
And where they can learn, because
They can
that's the
learn.
whole idea, right?
Absolutely. So for today we have discussed about bullying at school. Do watch out for our upcoming videos where we will be talking about bullying in not the school environment, which is a much broader and a deeper aspect. So look out for those videos, because we will be touching those topics as well. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your support and love, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much. Catch you again next week. Bye.